Greetings everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Cassandra and you're watching Spotless Mind Tarot. In this series of videos we are going to take a look into what is coming your way for the end of 2023. You can watch this video anytime from the release date to the very end of the year. There will be a total of 12 videos, one for each zodiac sign. I suggest that you watch for your rising, sun, and moon sign. Keep in mind that the messages I receive in these readings are general, so apply them accordingly to your life. All of my readings are audio recorded, and photos of the spread will appear on the screen as we progress through the reading. The format for the readings will go as follows. I will start each reading by taking a look at the current energies that you may be experiencing at the time you are watching this video. Next, I'll take a look at what is coming your way for the end of the year and what you could expect to occur during these last few months. After that, we'll get some advice from your spirit guides and see what they would like for you to know going into 2024. Then I'll pull an oracle card that will tie together the reading for you. The oracle will basically highlight the overall outcome of the year. Thank you for watching, and please hit the subscribe button, like, and share this video. Blessings Capricorn, and welcome to your year-end tarot reading. This is good for Capricorn rising, sun, and or moon. So if you'd like to get the most out of these readings, then I suggest watching for your other placements. My apologies for such a late reading. I know we're already arrived here at the end of the year, but I had to take 2 weeks off last month from doing these readings. Otherwise, I would have had them for you already. Because of that, I will include the month of January into this reading. So what comes up here at the end of the year may very well transition into January as well. Today, I am using the Albano Waite Tarot deck and Angelarium Oracle of Emanations. We'll start by taking a look at the current energies, and then we'll progress through the reading from there. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the cards, and we'll see what we get. Okay, so for current energies, we got the Page of Cups, Death, and the Five of Cups. And so the Page of Cups, when I first drew it out, it was telling me that a few things. So a lot of you are in deep contemplation at this moment, and whatever that contemplation is about is going to vary between each individual. So this can largely deal with romantic and platonic relationships. So I guess just relationships of any kind, but I would say more romantic. And if they're platonic or business or even family, then I would say it has a lot to do with some kind of deep feeling that you are carrying. And on the other side of it, I feel that you guys are just really, you guys are definitely evaluating what to do next. And especially as the new year approaches and your season is approaching. I'm recording this on December 6th, 2023. And you can watch this video at any time. So you could even be in January and pick up on this video. So either way, as far as your current energies, like the current themes that you're going through, you guys you're just in contemplation regardless. So it can deal with your emotions and or deal with what you want your next move to be. And you guys are really unsure. There can be a lot of confusion, but with anything, there's just a lot of uncertainty. I feel a lot of what you're going through has confused you in the sense that you're not sure. You just may not be sure why this is happening and why it's occurring. And I'm going to heavily relate to this reading myself because I am a Capricorn sun. And I'll say I have a Libra rising, Capricorn sun, Pisces moon. So if anything, whenever I do zodiac readings, which I hope to do more of, this is actually my first time I've done readings for each individual zodiac sign. Those three signs, Libra, Capricorn, and Pisces, are going to relate to me as well. And as I'm doing these readings, like as I shuffle, I also say, okay, allow me to tap into myself as well. Like, what are we going through as a collective, as a sign? And so I could really relate to those 3 signs, basically. And so I can relate to what you guys are going through. There's definitely, I just get like a lot of uncertainty. I feel at the same time, you guys, like, I'm getting 7 of Cups vibes where it's laid out in front of you and you know what your intuition is saying. You know what the truth is. You know what you feel deep in your heart, but at the same time, I don't think it's reflecting back to you. And so with the Page of Cups here, like, he's observing this fish and I feel like he's waiting for the fish to almost, and I'm getting a frog. It's a fish, but there's something about frogs here. And it's like, okay, it's like kissing the frog, right? And the frog turns into a prince. And so in this case, it's like you guys are expecting something to change, or you're expecting something to just appear. So like kissing a frog and that turns into a prince. Like, you're expecting something to completely reveal itself to you. And with the Death card, this is definitely a deep transformative time for you guys. There's a lot of weight that you're carrying around, and it's time for you to drop it and let it go. And you know it is. And I feel like you've been fighting and holding on to this for so long, whatever it may be. I feel a lot of it is a relationship, but if anything, it's highly emotional, and it has a lot to do with either like your purpose or what you think your purpose is, as well as just an overall sense of belonging and being. And there's something that you've been holding on for so long, and now you gotta let it go. The Death card is here to remind you it's time to let it go, because it's destroying you, it's hurting you, and I would even say, because this card is ruled by Scorpio, there's probably something that happened in Scorpio season. Some kind of shift occurred, and it was a shift for you to step in onto the new timeline, basically. And not so much, it doesn't have to be like an actual like timeline in like the spiritual and metaphysical sense, but just like it's time for a renewal. It's time for you to move on. It's time for you to give up. It's time for you to let go. And when I say give up, it's time to give up the things that are holding you back, it's time for you to give up waiting for that frog to turn into a prince. Because it's not that it's not going to happen. For some of you, probably, whatever that frog is representing for you, and whatever the prince represents for you, it could happen, but it's not happening right now, unfortunately. And it hasn't been happening for a long time. And it's almost like how they say, once you give up something that you want, that's when you get it. And so that could be the case for a lot of you, that once you like let go of your attachment to it, you're going to be able to, it's going to come back in. It's almost like the attachment you have to this, or the expectations that you have of this, are taking up so much space. And like with the Death card, like how there's just all this stuff on the floor. Like there's even like someone who appears to be dead, and like it's just a mess. And there's no room for the horse to step. Like he's got in the, there's people trying to stop death from doing this, right? But he's coming through. The sky is red. Like you can't stop this force from coming through. You can't stop the Death card, and you can't stop the Tower card. Okay, you can't even stop the Fool card, which is a more positive aspect of those two, right? I would even say the same with the Star and the World card, and even the the Wheel of Fortune. Like these are forces that are just inevitable. And so going back to what I'm saying, there's some kind of deep attachment or resentment or guilt, or you're not forgiving, or there's just something like a grudge, which I know Capricorns can be known for. Like you guys, even if you don't realize it or want to admit it, we tend to hold grudges because we are definitely one of the signs that has to do with what's justice and what is due diligence, This is Saturn energy, and Saturn is also exalted in Libra. So Libra and Capricorn are like the two signs that are all about doing what's right. Libra is more about doing what's fair, and then Capricorn's doing is more about what is rightfully yours, like what you've rightfully earned, or what you like your birthright. And so I feel like a lot of this attachment is surrounding that kind of energy, and that kind of like you feel like whatever you were wronged, and you're left broken and scarred, and you feel like this isn't fair. Like, what did I do wrong? And maybe you know what you did wrong, but you still like don't believe that this kind of punishment, in a way, for some of you, it's not going to be a punishment, but whatever it is that you're experiencing that's like holding you back or making you question yourself and all that, like it's basically just preventing you from moving on. So I am kind of losing my train of thought and it's coming in really fast. And so the death card, I feel like as a current energy, this is an unstoppable force. You've been pushing it back. You've been trying to negotiate with death for the longest time. And he's just like, okay, I gave you enough time. Time's up. So basically that's, okay, I got it out finally. Like that's the main message. Like whatever this is that you feel this is relating to, the time's up. So it's not so much about making a choice, because I feel like you've made a choice a very long time ago. You're just like, you're fighting it. You're fighting to the death, and the death card is just, he's just like, we gotta go. Like I got shit to do, man. All right. And so it follows up with the 5 of Cups. And so this speaks of loss and guilt and all that stuff. It's the could have, should have, would have kind of energy. Like I should have did this. I knew this was going to happen. Which honestly, that's such a Capricorn thing. You guys really beat yourself up and hold yourself to high standards. Like you don't always hold up other people to high standards, but like you have such high standards for yourself, and they're very personal. So to like a lot of people, it may not look like a high standard, but for you, like it totally is. Like this is the result of the death card coming through. This is the result of you giving up to those attachments. And you're going to find that it's not what you were hoping for, not what you were expecting, not what the frog's not churning into a prince, of course, at least not right now. So I don't want to like completely shatter anyone's hopes and dreams and like whatever you personally know. But currently what I'm seeing is this isn't happening. Whatever it is the Page of Cups represents for you at this time, it's not happening. Nothing's changing. That fish, that frog they're just staring back to you. It's almost like I'm getting the sense of like they're looking at, you want to check Libra in your chart, because Libra also rules over the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups is Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. So I would even say like these past 3 months have been like a culmination of everything that this reading relates to. And a Sagittarius season, it's like, here's the death card in Sagittarius season. Like this, it's time. Like you want to clear this energy before you go into your season. And so with the Page of Cups, definitely check where Libra is. And Libra does deal with relationships. It's almost like this fish or this frog is mimicking you. It's almost that whole thing of what you put out into the universe gives back, which I partially believe, okay, because I have been in situations like during my most spiritual year, something had fell apart and we had to move, like, and I have kids, so like we have this whole family, like things like kind of like hit the fan and didn't turn the plans didn't go accordingly. We had an expectation of something, and ironically, was in 2015, and so that's when we had the North Node in Libra and the South Node in Aries, which right now we have the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. So there might be a correlation there. You want to go look at 2014, 2015, maybe even 2013. I don't know the exact years, but there could be something that happened at that time that's like coming to a full circle, and it's closing time because the nodes are in opposite signs. So this is a closure to something from the past, like, 7, 8, 9 years. And so what I was trying to get at, so yeah, I was in my most spiritual time ever. Like, I would love to top that year because I was just like in complete solitude, and like it was beautiful. And yeah, so like something happened, like kind of, I wouldn't say like shit hit the fan. It's just like, it's almost like we hit rock bottom and we had to start over again. But because of the place I was in and the high spiritual frequency I was in, I was able to navigate it so peacefully and so calmly, to where it's like, yeah, like the world around me is falling apart, but somehow I'm still okay. So when it comes to like what you put out into the universe, you receive. It's like, I don't recall putting out such bad energy for that to happen, for a bad thing to happen. You know what I mean? But at the same time, what I received in that, because of what I was putting out, was more peace and tranquility. Because if I wasn't putting out that peace and tranquility, I probably would have attracted a lot more anxiety and fear and all that. And I say this because I feel, because I am a Capricorn myself, and this is a collective thing, there's something, and the other Capricorns I know, people who have Capricorn placements or Capricorns themselves, like we're just really going through it. And I mean, when are we not going through it, right? But there's just something collectively happening to where like we're riding high and then we're back down again. And I feel for everyone here, there's something that occurred this year that was like, I want to say the final straw, or something that was just like a final, some kind of ending, or even like a new beginning, but something that was just like the final, like, and you've just been holding on ever since. Okay. It's almost like it's like grieving, like you're just, the grief is so overwhelming. It's hard for you to let go. So, oh, it's a lot. I feel for you, and I'm here with you. So I just want to bring it full circle. It's time to move on. Okay. The positive side of the 5 of Cups is that he still has 2 cups standing up behind him. All he has to do is turn around and look at them and realize that it's not a complete loss. So, your frog turning into Prince Charming, even if that's not happening right now or ever, you still got 2 cups, right? Like, it's not so bad, right? 2 out of 3, it's not too bad, right? Maybe if you're betting, it's bad, but, we're not betting here. This is just the facts of life. This is just like what we have. And so the positive side of this is to understand that it's not a complete loss, okay? And what you lost needed to basically die here with the Death card. You got to take it for what it is. It's just one of those things. And as a Capricorn, it is just one of those things in life where it's like, what's new? But at the same time, I feel that there's some kind of sense of like maturity here, to where, like I was saying about my experience, how like, even though shit was going wrong, which was completely out of my control, and I feel like I didn't attract that. Maybe I did. I don't know. Regardless that shit was going wrong, I was such in a peaceful place that I was able to navigate through it better. And so the peace you're going to find is in what you have left over. And the great thing about what you have left over, you can build from it. Okay. Look at it like the Temperance card. The Temperance card has an angel with 2 cups, and they're fusing them together, like in the original Rider-Waite illustration. They're like pouring into each other. And so just turn around and pick up those 2 cups and pour it into yourself, basically. All right, so that's what I got for current energies. Let's go ahead and jump into what you could expect here at the end of the year and going into January. All right, so for what you could expect, we got the Chariot, the Star, the 6 of Swords, and the Wheel of Fortune. So it's kind of funny how I mentioned the Star and the Wheel of Fortune along with some other cards, and here they are appearing for you guys. Now, this is mostly major arcana, so this is mostly archetypal energy. So I'm not sure how this is gonna turn out. But starting with the Chariot, this is a clear sign that it's time to move forward. Those 2 cups are going to turn into those 2 sphinx for you and take you off on to the next chapter in your life. And this is the Chariot. And like, so the man he's just in a personal chariot. So you could see how, like, I mean, there might be something behind him, but you could see how, like, he's just got himself and his 2 cups that are now 2 sphinx, you know, which that's the analogy I'm going to give it. But look, at the same time, like, he's suited and booted. So it's like, you have everything you need. Whatever death is going to do for you at the current time. And this current time it's going to be when you're watching, and it could be like the past week or so, or just like a common, like a general thing. Once you allow that death card to just come through and you allow yourself to give up, to let go of attachments, the Chariot is going to step in immediately, and it's going to liberate you. And the Star is also a liberating card. This has a lot to do with divine timing, astrological timing, and waiting for allowing what is meant to be, and allow what is meant to be to step in. And this is Aquarius energy, which we also have in the 6 of Swords. We have Mercury in Aquarius. So there could be something that happens in Aquarius season, maybe even like a finalization of this. And so Aquarius season, as you may know, starts in the middle of January. And so by the middle of January, I feel like you're going to arrive at the 6 of Wands or 6 of Swords energy. And a 6 of Swords speaks about overcoming hardships and moving forward. So this is a card that you did everything you could, and there's nothing else you could do. And so it's time to move on. The 6 of Swords is a journey out of a dark time, out of a difficult time. It's a journey to calmer waters. It's a journey to a better future, a better life. And that's being followed by the Wheel of Fortune, which can be a positive / negative omen. And when I say negative, don't think of like the traditional sense of negative. It's more like the yin yang energy of positive, negative, or even like a battery, positive, negative. Like neither of those are bad. Like the negative side of a battery isn't bad, but if you put it in the wrong place, like a controller, like it's not going to work, right? So you have to have a negative with a positive charge and a positive charge with a negative charge, which is a really interesting analogy I'm getting for the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune also speaks about allowing the Wheel of Fortune to spin and allowing it to stop where it needs to stop. And it's being guided by fate. Okay, it's being guided by a higher power. And the meaning of the imagery is like slipping me with the part I want to talk about, how there's a Sphinx on top of the Wheel of Fortune, which we also see one on the chair, or we see 2 on the Chariot. I don't think they're related. They could be the same. I don't know. And I forget like who the Sphinx is, what their name was. This is Lady Fortuna. Is that how you say it? Fortuna. Fortune with the A, basically. This is Lady that Fortuna. And yeah, like it's slipping me right now. Like it's an ancient symbol or whatever. So maybe look it up. And I could probably sit here all day and like explain it too if I were to pull it up. But this Sphinx is overseeing everything, and she's holding a sword, which represents justice, which also represents Libra. You know, Lady Justice holds a sword and a scale, and it's divine justice. So Libra is also Lady Libra. You could even relate it to Pallas Athena, who can be related to Libra, how she is she seeks justice, but she's also a warrior. So she'll fight for that justice. And so anytime you see justice imagery with a sword, that is just their will to fight for it, because they fight for what's just, basically. And so, but here with the Wheel of Fortune, it's out of your control, because you're not the one stopping the wheel. I don't know if the Sphinx is either, but it's, you have to allow it to spin. You got to allow it to just do its thing, and where it falls is your fate and your luck, basically. And so what's coming up here at the end of the year and going into January, but I would say more so here at the very end of the year. And then January will be like the transition point, which I think January is regardless. And I was having a conversation about this, how January was added to the calendar. I don't think there was, and I think I've seen that before too, but in like traditional calendars, there wasn't a January. There's like hundreds of calendars though. So just generally speaking, and I've always felt like January is like a transitional month because it's kind of got like a weird vibe to it, it's a really interesting energy, I would say. And so here at the end of the month, first you have to allow that to come through and do its thing. And then you got to take what you have left, which ultimately is going to be yourself. I mean, of course, it could be more than that, but speaking from the perspective of this reading, take yourself and get out of it. So you're going to have to leave a place, a person, a situation, an emotion, a thought, expectations, attachments. You got to let them all go completely. And you know which ones I'm talking about, okay? Let them go. Don't be afraid to let them go, okay? Because I think a lot of you are just afraid. And I have to pause here because now I'm getting emotional. A lot of you are just afraid to let go because maybe in the past you let go and you had lost something completely. So you're afraid to let go of whatever this is. But I'm saying you have to because we have the star out and we have the chariot. And the star is a promise. This is a promise from the universe that everything's going to be okay. That what you're letting go isn't actually a loss like you think it is. Like here with the 5 of Cups, you think it's such a bad loss, but it's not. And I relate the star to a transitional phase as well, because this is the combining of past and future. Okay, to me, it's like going up to a wishing well and making a wish and making an offering to the well. So that's another thing. Maybe you need to make an offering of some sort. So if you don't have like a usual offering of any, and it could be any kind. So if you want to do like, if you have an ancestral altar, maybe make some offerings. If you have any kind of altar, make an offering. If you've never done an offering, make an offering to whoever, whatever deity, even God or the moon or whatever, like whatever speaks to you. I would make an offering. And it doesn't have to be a whole thing. It could be something really simple. Like if you want to make offerings to Venus, you can buy wine and flowers, or just say out loud that these are for you, Venus. I offer these to you, and like whatever else. Like there's so many ways you can go about it. And you'll know if this deity received it because you will feel it, or something will happen afterwards to like confirm. So I would make an offering in the sense that the star is making an offering to your situation. It's like wishing upon a star, wishing upon a star. What do you have to offer in return for your wish, basically? So there's some kind of exchange there. I don't know what you would call that. I mean, our ancestors used to give offerings and ask for blessings in return. And so maybe that's just what it is. Instead of praying for it and hoping for it and wishing for it and asking for it, like what do you have to offer? So it doesn't have to be an actual like offering. It could just be an action you take. It could be a mindset. It could just be, okay, if I let this go, I'm going to focus on this instead. So that's an offering. So, however you want to go about it is the best way that's going to work for you. And you want to let it go because there's a lot of letting go here with the Chariot and the 6 of Swords. And the 6 of Swords and the Chariot both speak about moving on. And the 6 of Swords is very more detailed about it in the sense that this is getting, in a sense, in some aspects, that these people in the boat are refugees. So they're seeking a better life. And so that could be literally or metaphorically for you, whether you actually need to leave where you are and go seek a better life, or there's something in your life that you need to leave behind in order to have a better life. And that could be, again, it could be anything. I'm not going to try to figure out what that is because I'm not really getting a clear one. I just know that it has a lot to do with your emotions and more than likely relationships of some kind, especially romantic or just any that you just have very, very deep feelings for, because these are really strong emotions I'm feeling. And I mean, I got really emotional early. So like, and I'm with you, I think that's why, because, I relate to this as well. This is a collective thing, and I'm seeing it in other people who have Capricorn placements, like whether or not they show it or admit it, I intuitively feel it and see it. It's a struggle, right? Even if you have planets in the 10th house, you're probably going to be feeling this too, okay? So let me see what else that I can get from this. Again, with the Wheel of Fortune, it's you gotta let the wheel spin. So you leaving the situation, whatever it is that you're leaving behind here with the Six of Swords and the Chariot, the Wheel of Fortune is going to be the next and final phase of this. And so and I think that's why I can't tell you guys like what is going to happen or what it is this is, because the Wheel of Fortune is dependent on each and every one of you. The wheel is going to spin in your fate, and it'll spin in your favor, but again, there's a positive, negative side to this, then up and down. I'm having a hard time trying to articulate it, but once you reach this the Wheel of Fortune is going to be your destination. Okay. What happens after the Wheel of Fortune, I can't tell you. Maybe unless you book a private reading, or if I do more readings like this in the future, which I would like to do. I'm thinking about doing like the beginning of 2024 for the signs. We'll see though, because like this has taken me like nearly 2 months to get these videos out. So just because like the way my life is set up, I can't just like sit here and record readings all day for people. Like I wish, but I don't have that luxury. So regardless, just know that here at the end of the year, you're gonna arrive at the Wheel of Fortune after everything's said and done. And the Star card speaks so much of that inner tranquility and peace, and just regardless of what's going on, that's what you want to tune into and tap into. For a lot of you, it's going to be really, really hard, but I promise if you keep working at it, you'll get there. Don't give up. Because and that's another thing too, I think because you do need to give up and let go, but it's giving up and letting go on this situation that is creating difficulties for you, whether it's hurting you or it's hurting others or whatever it may be that's causing some kind of pain or discomfort. That's what you want to give up on. You don't want to give up on yourself though. And that's why I keep emphasizing like the Chariot, like all you have is yourself. You need to work on yourself, and you have been, and that's not to say that you haven't been, but this is the final straw that you have to let go of what I was saying in the current energies so you could arrive here at the Star, because you're not going to arrive at the Star with all that baggage. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. And you can't take all your belongings on the boat. You could take 6 swords, sure, but it's ironic because the number 6 is such a powerful number. This number, I'm not going to get into it. It can go on forever, but like the Star of David has 6 sides, 6 points. It's the side of like creation. It could even represent God in one aspect. I know 666 gets a bad rep, but it's actually the sign of the sun and of light and of Lucifer. And Lucifer isn't some like evil. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's not who we've been told he is. And the word Satan isn't what we've been told it is. Like the original meaning doesn't translate into anything like devil or anything like that. But anyway, 6 is a number of transition, and it is a number of light, of divine light, and of God. It could also represents a unity. It's not like the number 2 when it comes to like two people coming together. 6 can represent unity across the board, so it doesn't have to be between two people. It's more like connecting, being like the path of enlightenment is a path to oneness with the universe. And so 6 can represent that oneness. And I am recording this on the 6th of the month. So I would say the 6th of this month, which would be today, or the 6th of January could be of significance as well. Maybe even 16. Okay, but moving on from the numbers, and now I'm kind of sidetracked. I don't know where I left off, but basically you're going to arrive here at the Wheel of Fortune, and you're going to have to take that spin, and where it lands, we don't know. You're not going to know until it comes up. I think that's one of my favorite parts of the Wheel of Fortune, is that in a tarot reading, like, you can't predict what's going to happen afterwards. I mean, you could, but in this reading specifically, because it comes at the end, it's like I can't tell you what's going to happen. It's just, you're going to have to wait and see. So, which, I don't know, I feel like that could be pretty exciting. So keep in mind too that you are being judged. Okay, so we don't have like justice out or anything, or even judgment, but you are being judged. So by the universe, by the divine. So just keep that in mind and come as you are, which I feel like Capricorns, for the most part, don't have a hard time doing. Okay, so now I'm going to keep going forward, and we're going to get some advice from your spirit guides. So my aim of this part of the reading is to help basically confirm everything we've been saying, but give you confirmation that you feel, because spirit guides know you best, right? And these spirit guides are however you may see them. If you don't believe in spirit guides, then this is just divine messages from the divine. It could be from the creator himself, or however you see the divine, the universe, you know, the Brahma, like the all penetrating, all existing energy, life force, whatever. Otherwise, this is just from your guides, or even like your higher self or your guardians, whoever that you connect to that is like on a higher plane, that is watching over you and knows what's best for you. So I'm going to pull those advice cards, and then we'll keep going with the reading because we're almost done. Okay, so we got, for advice from your spirit guides, we have the 2 of Swords and Temperance. Oh God, this reading is crazy, because did I not mention Temperance as well? I'm done pulling tarot cards, so we're not going to get the World, unfortunately. We're not going to get the Fool card either, but we got like the cards that just keep speaking about what I'm going, you know, what I'm relaying in this reading. And I would say first off with Temperance, because as I'm recording this, and as a lot of you may be watching this, we're in Sagittarius season. So this is like the transition I was talking about that I feel we all experience in January. There's a transition happening right now in this season. It might be something that you recognize, especially if you recognize the shift in Scorpio season. I definitely did. I can't tell you the dates. It was the week before Thanksgiving when I noticed like a shift. Okay, there's like a new wave of energy and influx that I had experienced. And so there was a shift that occurred for all of you guys. And now that we're in Sagittarius season, I will agree that there is some kind of transition happening. With the 2 of Swords, this speaks about the decisions you have to make for yourself. So I did say something earlier about like, it's not so much about making the decision, because you've already made it. And that's usually what the 2 of Swords represents. It's like you've already made it, but you're still weighing both sides. You're still like, you don't have clear vision, and so you don't want to make the choice. So the 2 of Swords is here to advise you at this current time that you got to put the swords down. You got to take off the blindfold, because you've made a decision, but you're holding on. You're still holding on to these swords. You're still being blinded by your own inability to let go. That's a deep thing for me to say. Okay, and Temperance is here as a positive reinforcement and reminder that you need to better manage the situation. You need to put the swords down and pick up the cups. the 2 cups behind the man on the 5 of cups. You need to pick up those 2 cups. Okay, the swords are not doing much for you. Okay, I know with the 6 of swords, you're taking them with you. Okay, but that again, how I came back around to like, you know, you're being judged. So maybe those 6 swords represent like your karma or something like that. But you need to drop the swords because they're not, and the swords represents air element. Air element represents the mental, the psychic, intuitive elements, the inner knowing and your inner compass, your inner guidance, you know, the air, the wind. So allowing the wind to guide you. And that's another thing that I feel a lot of people forget. Like we talk about how like the plants and the trees can talk and you can hug them and talk to them and all that. But like I feel the same way about the wind. The wind can definitely speak to you if you listen, if you just sit outside and you're in a meditative place or in a quiet place and you hear the wind or you feel the wind, like there's messages that get carried through the wind. I definitely believe that on like a spiritual or even like metaphysical level, that messages are sent through the wind, just like how they're sent through certain, like you can get messages from birds. Like robins are known to be messengers of loved ones. And so maybe that's another thing, is to be open to receiving the messages that are out there in nature. But with the air, like you gotta put your defenses down. You're very defensive right now. You're very, you can even be really quick to attack people in the sense that if you feel threatened, you may be really like your first resort to, or like your first reaction is to get very, very defensive. So you want to be mindful of that. I don't think that's necessary. That could even be a trauma response. So even if there's no trauma, then there's no need to be so defensive because it's hurting you. Honestly, these swords are hurting you. Your mindset is hurting you. And Temperance speaks about balancing and managing. And so you want to manage your feelings, and it's androgynous, but this angel has 2 cups, and cups represents the emotional. It can represent emotional intellect. It is our deep inner knowing. It is our creativity as well as our love and nurture. And so this is what you want to pick up and embody more of. Less with the mental, the defensiveness, the negative self-talk, all that. Like I just want to, like, as I'm, like, you can't see it because on the screen, I just have pictures. I don't record this, like, on a camera. That's not how I like to do my readings. And I don't really have the right equipment to do that. Like, I do, but I don't. So, like, this is just easier for me. But, like, I keep like pushing it to the side. Like I just want to pick it up and throw it across the room. This 2 of swords, like just fuck this, bro. Like yeet this shit out of your life. Okay. The Temperance is here. Like this is what you want to embody. This is who you want to connect with. Okay. So Sag season, the advice is to and if you're not watching this in Sag season, the advice overall, maybe look back at Sag season and see what happened and recognize what happened. But like, I can't stress it enough. Like, you need to come back to yourself, basically. And as I'm reading this, I got like this itch on my head. Sometimes that doesn't happen anymore. But when I was a teenager in the tarot readings, I would always feel something touching my shoulders and my head, like every single time I did a reading. And I'm feeling it on my head right now. I don't feel anything on my shoulders, but there's something touching like the very, very top, my crown chakra. That's probably what it is my crown chakra. So there's something here for you. Oh, and it's beautiful because this is the crown chakra. Like, I can't explain what I'm feeling. It's not like an itch because it usually is. It's kind of just, I don't know. I can't explain it. So I'm referring to some notes and, Temperance, it is about balance and bringing things into balance. Temperance, it says here, temperance is the virtue of not doing the things you do enjoy. Hence, temperance is the only negative virtue because it involves curbing our appetites and desires. So temperance has to deal with virtues, but it's like the opposite of it. So again, like what you've been holding on to this whole time, it may be things you wanted that frog to turn into a prince or a princess so bad, right? And you just been having a stare contest with this thing and it's not budging. And so this is, I feel this temperance is like reminding you, like, you don't want to let go of that idea. You don't want to give up because you're afraid of losing it, but sometimes you have to give up sometimes the things that you want so bad because it's dragging you down. Okay. This is also speaking on preservation and what you do have. Again, those 2 cups that you got to pick up. God, I love that temperance is out because I picked up on it at the beginning of this reading, picking up those 2 cups and fusing them together, and here we are. So that's the advice. And just think about what I have said before about it. I think overall I got this message out. So that's the advice I have for you guys. Okay, so we're going to do one more. So before we leave, I'm going to pull an oracle card, and this oracle card is going to basically wrap up everything, and it's going to like summarize everything I just said. Now, the cards I'm using are a bit more mysterious. I'm using emanations, and so there's archangels, there's emanations of the tree of life. This is a very Kabbalistic deck, and as my readings have Kabbalistic elements in it, I'm still like a student. Like I've only been studying the Kabbalah side intentionally for the past 2-3 years, probably 3 years. And really within the past year, before that, like I've known of like these things, but like I didn't know it was related to the tree of life and Kabbalah. But anyways, I like it because I don't know, just like with tarot, I don't know, it makes sense. It's weird how like Kabbalah like makes sense with tarot cards. It's almost like, yeah, I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, so I'm going to pull Oracle card. We'll see what it says, and then we'll wrap up the reading. Okay, the Oracle card we got for you is Yesod, root connection. And Yesod on the tree of life sits above Malkut at the bottom. And so this is like, this can represent like the heavens. This is where as above, so below comes to meet. I'd say it manifests in Tiferet, which is above Yesod. And then when it reaches Yesod, that's when it's like materialized. It's literally like heaven and earth, basically. It divides the heavens. I think it even divides the tree. I could be wrong. So Yesod, what it says in the book, it says, the ninth emanation, the foundation that supports the world and forms the gateway between the spiritual and the physical. Yesod is the medium through which we experience the tree of life. Upon his shoulders rests the sky, and all that lies beyond it runs through his fingers. We stand at this doorway and peer through, seeking answers to our nature. Through the indigo orb, a gateway appears. As a single column again, the flow of energy through the tree only moves downwards. Yesod is the last stop before moving into the fully physical realm. He is the looking glass through which we examine ourselves. You can find Yesod in A New Life, Speech, and A Doorway. Okay, so Yesod is basically simplifying this reading for you guys and wrapping things up. And it has a lot to do with, I would say, a detachment from the physical. You want to detach from the physical reality. Basically, you know, what we do here, like we can only take ourselves when it's time. You know, you only have yourselves. And like at the end of the day, even if you have a family or a house full of people or all the friends in the world or whatever, like you have even material possessions, let's say you got it all. When you go to bed at night, it's you and your body regardless of who's next to you or who's in the next room. And when you fall asleep, it's just you and your body, right? Or you and the divine, if you would like to include him, or her. And so it's like, and with the Chariot, how I was saying, you can only take yourself moving forward. You know, it could be very literal or just metaphorical. Like, I feel this is a time for you to really just tap into those higher realms, tap into Yesod, tap into that gateway. You want to let go so you can pass through that doorway. You know, you can't enter the heavens if you don't let go. And I hope that's not like dark for any of you. Like, please don't take it as a literal, like, don't, you know, do that. But just, you know, it's a metaphor. Like, you can't transition if you're just going to keep holding on. That's the message I got for you guys. All right. It was really deep. It was very, very emotional. And I would say it was definitely one of my most intuitive readings for sure. Scorpio was another very intuitive one where it just kind of, I don't know, just kind of went through me. So I hope this reading resonated. I hope that you were able to receive the guidance and confirmation and support you were looking for. And before we go, I don't have a channeled song for you, actually. Let me double check. I don't think I wrote anything down. So now I'm going to have to like figure out a song for you guys. And I almost want to say you guys don't have a song. The silence is the song. The wind is the song. But for the sake of these readings, I will channel one for you. Okay, so I thought of a song before this. I'm not going to include the link, but I'll mention it. But the first song I thought of was Raging Fire, Judgment Day. But I feel like that's just too heavy. But if you do want to go check out that song, I do recommend checking it out. And it's such a great, fantastic reggae band. Like, I don't know what it is, but their music is just, it's wonderful. Like with channeled songs, that's the thing. Like, it's meant to be a spiritual experience for you. So channeled music, which I'll explain it later. So the song I'm gonna choose for you guys, which I think is a little more appropriate, is by Kelela. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I could be wrong. Kelela. And the song is Let It Go. And I'm choosing this song because it's got a softer sound to it. And you know, and it's a very beautiful song. And how I mentioned about needing to let go and give up this, whatever is hurting you and destroying you and like preventing death from doing his job, basically, you got to let it go. So the song, I feel you can connect to. And so the thing for channeled songs is that, you know, music is highly spiritual, even if that's not its purpose or intention, at least not by the artists themselves. I mean, we're made of sound, we're made of frequency, and music, you know, it has a very moving impact on us, or it can make us happy, or it can make us depressed and angry, right? Like, that's because we're made of music, right? And so, you know, by listening to these songs, or even just channeling your own songs, which I recommend way more than, you know, going with what I said, but it's just a way for you to receive messages from the universe, whether it's through the lyrics, through the vocals, through the beat, whatever it is. It could even just be one really simple line, right? And it's the world to you, and it connects you to everything. And so that's basically what channeled songs are for. There's a handful of tarot readers on YouTube that do channeled songs already, so you probably are familiar. So okay, so we're going to end the reading here. If you haven't yet already, please hit the subscribe button, tap the notifications bell, and like this video. By liking this video, you help to push it into the YouTube algorithm for other people to find. Follow my profile on Instagram at Spotless Mind Tarot. Replace the I in mind with the number 1. If you would like to book a private reading with me, my readings are available on my Etsy shop, kaleidoscopeescape.etsy.com. Also, do me a huge favor and drop a comment on this video and let me know if this reading resonates for you or if it didn't resonate for you. It also allows me to know that you are here with me, and so that way for future videos, I can better tune into your frequency and your energy and deliver more accurate readings for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm very, very grateful for your presence. I wish you all the luck, Capricorn, and I send all my love to you guys, and I will catch you in the next video.